Hi, I'm going to read you this book, Growing Trees, written by Judith Bauer Stamper, illustrated by Wesley Lowes. So, what takes care of trees? I wonder whether we'll find an answer to our question. Let's read this book and find out. Do you plant trees in your backyard? And how do you take care of it? Let's find out how they take care of their tree. This is a picture of my tree and me. We've been growing up together for a whole year. It all began last summer. I went to visit a national forest with my mom and dad. A forest is a great place to learn about trees. There are trees as far as you can see. We took a hike with a forester, an expert on taking care of trees in the wild. So that's the forester. The forester showed us small young trees and big old trees that were like towering giants. Have you been to a forest before? I love forest. Then he explained the life cycle of a tree. It always starts out with a seed. In the spring, the warm sun makes the seed germinate or begin to grow. The seed sprouts a small root that grows down into the ground. The root absorbs water and minerals from the soil. Next, a small stem pushes up out of the ground and grows to tiny seed leaves. The leaves use sunlight to give the tree energy to grow. A new growth called a shoot appears at the tip of the stem. Larger leaves grow from the shoot. The seedling is on its way to become a tree. The growing tree keeps growing if it gets enough water and sunlight to survive. In its next year of life, the tree grows buds that many turn into leaves. Soon the tree has branches, a woody trunk, bark, and lots of leaves. Each year, the tree grows taller and its trunk gets wider. A forester can tell how old a tree by counting the rings. The tree trunk has one ring for each year it has been alive. This tree was more than 100 years old. See how many rings he's pointing at? A forester can also find out how old living tree is by using a tree borer, a tool that takes out a small part of the tree without hurting it. So this is the tool that they use to poke the tree and find out. After our trip to the forest, I wanted to grow a tree of my own. Dad took me to a nursery where you can buy flowers, shrubs, and trees. Have you been to a nursery before? There's a lot of cool trees in there to find. A nursery has trees that have grown big, enough to transplant or plant in a new place. The nursery worker showed me trees that have flowers in the spring and fruits in the summer. We look at trees with soft leaves and trees with pine needles. I chose a maple tree. My tree was already more than 4 feet high, just a little taller than me. The nursery worker helped us choose a shovel to plant the tree. She recommended organic fertilizer to feed the tree as it grew. Then she went over the instructions on how to plant my tree. A fertilizer is like food for the plants or trees. I picked out a place in our backyard where the tree would have lots of sunlight and lots of room to grow. Then Dad and I dug a hole with a shovel. The hole was as deep as a tree root's ball, and about 3 times as wide. We carefully lowered the tree into the hole. We loosened the burlap bag around the roots. Next, we filled in soil around the tree. I added organic fertilizer to the soil and sprinkled mulch on top. Then I gave my tree a nice drink of water. So the tree needed fertilizer, sunlight, and water. Dad asked an arborist to check the other trees in our yard. An arborist is like a doctor for trees. She pruned the branches of our big trees with pruning shears. She checked all the trees for signs of disease. She also listened for bugs by using a stethoscope. She looked like a doctor. Look at that. One of our oldest trees has been damaged in a storm. The arborist used a handsaw and a chainsaw to cut off 2 broken limbs. I asked the arborist to check my tree. She said it was doing just fine. She added a stake to help it grow up straight. Those are the stakes. So when the wind blows, they will not move all over the place. The tree will not move all over the place. When the weather turned cold, my tree's green leaves turned bright red. Then they swelled down to the ground. The next spring, my tree grew buds that turned into leaves. Over the summer, it grew branches with more leaves. Its trunks grew thicker. This is a leaf from my red maple tree. It has 3 lobes that have saw-toothed edges. The bark is dark gray and rough with little ridges. All summer I watered my tree and checked it for insects. It just kept growing. So you can check some trees in your backyard. The arborist said that my tree could grow 60 feet high. That's taller than my house. Look at my tree now. It's much taller than I am. If I take good care of it, it will be around for a long, long time. A tree is a great friend to grow up with. You can plant tree too. Which tree would you choose? An oak, a palm, a pine, weeping willow, Japanese maple, or sweet cherry. I like all those trees. Till next time.